As October comes to a close, the spooky season is upon us, and the Lloydminster and District Co-op partnered with the Lloydminster Exhibition to make a new safe way for kids to trick or treat before Halloween. Our Thomas Wildman has more.
This was the lineup outside the Lloydminster Exhibition to get into the trunk or treat. The wait was definitely worth it, as kids and parents were delighted to see the cool trucks, the various members of the community, and of course, the candy.
Seen a fantastic response for the first trunk or treat. We've got a collection of businesses, some nonprofits here, some sports teams, and of course a lot of citizens. I'm looking around, it's extremely busy. There's lots of smiling kids, lots of families enjoying themselves. So I think it's safe to say that trunk or treat's been a hit so far, and we hope to do it again next year.
All of those handing out candy and taking pictures looked to be having a great time, including members of the Lloydminster Bobcats who were all over helping hand out candy to kids.
Great, all these young people in the community coming together as one. It's amazing to see.
Well, that'll do, Donkey, for this year's Trunk or Treat event here at the Lloyd X. For Primetime Local News, I'm Thomas Wildman.
That looks like it was a well-attended event, and if you're planning on heading out this weekend or on Halloween Monday, the Lloydminster RCMP have some tips for you to keep in mind.
Well, Halloween is just around the corner, and it doesn't matter how old you are, if you're going trick-or-treating or going out to a party, there are a few things you should keep in mind to make sure you're staying safe this Halloween. I'm joined today by Constable Melanie Flynn from the Lloydminster RCMP detachment to go over some safety tips. Now, Constable Flynn, we'll start today with parents and kids. What are some things that they should be keeping in mind before going trick-or-treating to make sure they're staying safe?
We've definitely been out already chatting with students. We've done a few visits to the local schools and had those conversations, and it's just reminder conversations of tips for students. So we have a lovely Halloween safety package that you might see coming home with your kids from school, with some of those tips that we're going to talk about. So just some tips for trick-or-treaters while they're out and on the roads. I'm always amazed at how many kids already know some of these tips. So my visit this morning, they listed off a lot of them. So just to remind them to, be in a group of more than one or two together if they are trick-or-treating by themselves. If they're trick-or-treating with an adult, to remain with that adult. And then to obviously utilize sidewalks, staying on sidewalks, utilizing crosswalks. We encourage parents and students to light themselves up, right? To put on flashlights or lights on their costumes, or having glow sticks with them to make sure they're visible to traffic, to motorists. We anticipate, roadways to be busier on Monday and walkways to be busier on Monday. So even if it's just going out to some Halloween parties this weekend or trick-or-treating Monday, remaining visible on the roadways. And then another good comment some of the kids mentioned was not going into homes that are not known to them. So if someone asks them to come in for a bit to warm up, because if it is a little chilly, they might just be being courteous, but kids set their own boundaries about that stuff, right? To have those conversations that I'll politely wait out here for and not enter into homes. And then if the kids are, heading out by themselves, if they're older, make sure they have a cell phone with them so they can call if there is an emergency, or if someone does, get separated from the group. And then also letting your adults in your life know where you're going and when you're coming back. That's an important one. To have some type of guideline on, like, checking in every half hour, every hour, and just knowing the route that your kid's going to be taking or the houses they're going to be going to.
So for motorists on that Monday night, is there things that they should be keeping in mind when they're driving around? Obviously, there'll be more people in general crossing the street and just walking on sidewalks as well.
Yeah, just making sure you're really checking at each, I guess expect for there to be more kids to be jumping in and out of, around cars and stuff like that. So we want to make sure motorists are vigilant and slow down through, like, the park zones, the residential zones too. And just when you're coming into those residential areas, just be on the lookout for kids in their costumes. And we encourage kids to wear, the bright costumes and stuff, but I'm sure there'll be some dark, spooky costumes out there as well. So we want to make sure you're staying vigilant. And if you see something, say something, right? I think that's a big thing too. If you see some of the the not so good behavior happening on Halloween, to make sure it's getting reported to the police, and we can, do some patrols through those areas to, if there is any tricking that's happening, we can try to change some of that behavior with our presence alone, right? And just for residents, I want to just encourage them to have like their walkways lit up, and put on the outside lights on Monday to light up your space. And yeah, I think those are a lot of the safety tips I have for you today.
No, those are some great tips, Constable Flynn. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to share them with us. We hope everyone has a safe and fun Halloween.
Yeah, us as well.
As we head into sports, the Holy Rosary Raiders senior boys volleyball team are beginning preparations to host one of a few home tournaments this weekend. Our Adil Ahmed has the story.
The Holy Rosary Raiders senior boys volleyball club are a month into their season so far, but have a new coach this year, one who is a part of the Rustlers Women's Volleyball National Championship team back in 2017, Chelsea Steinle. Although this may be her first season as bench boss, Steinle has experience coaching her current group.
I coached a lot of the boys last year in club volleyball. I was able to step in when another coach couldn't make it anymore, and they're just a great group of kids to work with and really talented athletes. So it's been pretty seamless and kind of as good as coaching experience gets, really.
And as a coach, chemistry is one of the greatest things you can have in your group. And according to the team, they believe theirs has been at an efficient level.
We've known each other before our volleyball season, but we've come together a lot this season too. So off the court, we're having fun, like when we go out somewhere in the pool at the hotel and stuff. But on the court, you can see it a lot that sometimes we don't even need to talk to each other about a play or like calling ball, like to take a pass or something.
Something the boys will continue to utilize in their upcoming tournament this weekend.
I think are just happy to have a weekend at home. We've been going steady. This is weekend 7 in a row, and only one of those has been at home. So another home weekend is great. And of course, having home court advantage is always a perk. Like, we always love playing at home.
It'll just be interesting to see how all the other teams play, because there's other teams that I've seen from last year, other new teams that I haven't seen this year, and I think it'll be interesting. And I really hope the tournament goes our way and that we end up making it down to the finals.
Adil Ahmed, Primetime, local sports.
And just like the senior boys, the senior girls volleyball team are also getting ready for their tournament at home. Here's Adil Ahmed once again.
The Raiders senior girls volleyball are coming off a 3-day tournament this past weekend in Saskatoon. The competition they saw from the 3-day tourney is one that impressed them.
I think that was our most competitive tournament. We saw some really good teams and faced some good competition, and I think that's the best we've played this year. It was just a good tournament to go to.
There was a lot of really good teams there, but we stood our ground, I guess. It was really good. It was a really good tournament.
The girls will have another tournament this weekend, but this time on their home court, a place where the team is well familiar with. When asked if playing at home adds more pressure or calms the nerves, Rowan agreed with both.
A little bit of both, because there's those people watching from home. You don't get that when you're far away, but also you get you're used to this gym, so the lines and stuff like that.
Adil Ahmed, Primetime, local sports.
Now shifting over to collegiate sports, 2 teams from the Lakeland Rustlers saw themselves at the top of the rankings in the CCAA earlier this week. The women's basketball and volleyball teams were listed at number 1 and 2 respectively after the CCAA revealed its rankings on Tuesday. Both teams are coming off appearances this past season in the provincial finals, with the basketball team claiming gold. This is the first time in school history that both teams were ranked in the top 2 together.
To see Austin and the women's volleyball team ranked number 2. If you look at our 2 programs, women's volleyball and women's basketball, they've both been very dominant, and we kind of had the same rise to success. So it's awesome to see that happening in our school in such a small community.
Both teams will be facing the Keano Huskies tonight at 6 o'clock. The basketball team will be on the road, while the volleyball team will be here at home. And we wish them both the best of luck in those games tonight. Now it's time for us, though, to shift over to weather for a look at what's going on heading into this weekend with Shelby Clark.
Thanks so much again there, Jace. Yes, now taking another extended look at your weather forecast. We will be starting off with our central zone of the provinces to see where we are sitting at temperature-wise, and we are still seeing those double-digit temperatures in most spots, especially on our Alberta side, but, you know, looking slightly cooler compared to yesterday for sure. Over in Edson and Whitecourt, just at 10 degrees, while most are around at 11 and 12 degree mark. Going over to Jasper, they are still seeing cooler conditions just at 6, so Jasper was seeing that yesterday as well. So unfortunately, they are looking at that single-digit temperature for a while, but hopefully they will be warming up like we are, you know, for the next couple days. Switching over to our Saskatchewan side, they are looking at the same conditions as what we are seeing on our Alberta side. 11 degrees for Meadow Lake, while it's 12-13 for Prince Albert and over in North Battleford, and Saskatoon and Melfort looking slightly cooler, just at that 7 and 9, but just by a few degrees cooler compared to the rest. Going over to our northern zone now, they are looking not too bad temperature-wise, especially down in this area here. They are seeing those double-digit temperatures with that 10 and 11 in most spots. We go a bit higher up and they start to cool down from there. 7 for Wollaston Lake, while it's 3 in Stony Rapids. Uranium City is definitely seeing the coolest condition for sure, almost at that minus mark once again. And going back to our Alberta side here in our northern zone, they aren't looking too bad either. Most spots are seeing those single-digit temperatures, but getting closer to those double digits for today. Slave Lake and Fort McMurray just at 11 degrees, while the rest are just a few degrees cooler compared to those two spots, just by around the coolest being 6 degrees in Fort Chipewyan, but not looking too bad. And going over to our southern zone, we are kind of expecting them to look slightly warmer, but they are actually looking cooler and kind of matching with us here in our central area. 11 and 12 in most spots over on this side with Medicine Hat, Coronation, Calgary, and Lethbridge. Banff is still looking cooler, just like Jasper, with that 4 degrees, kind of what we expected, definitely compared to yesterday. And going over to our Saskatchewan side to check them out in our southern zone, they have warmed up slightly from what they were looking at yesterday, with most spots just seeing those single-digit temperatures. 12 degrees now for Estevan and up in Kindersley. The rest are, you know, slightly cooler, but not too bad. 5 degrees for Swift Current, and it is 6 for Moose Jaw, Regina. Yorkton is just at 8 degrees. So definitely looking kind of nicer for today for those spots here in our Saskatchewan side, you know, in our southern zone. But now looking at temperatures that we will expect throughout our evening and throughout the night as we head into the Halloween spooky weekend. We're going to look at some temperatures, you know, in surrounding areas and here in the border city. Bonnyville will be seeing that low of that 0 mark. Most will be seeing closer to that minus mark, with Provost, Paradise Hill seeing that low of -2. Low of 1 that Isla Cross and Meadow Lake will be seeing tonight. So we aren't seeing too bad of temperatures. Like I always say, we are going to be getting to those -30s, -40s, people. You know, winter is coming, so just be prepared. So I think we are pretty grateful that we are still seeing these temperatures for our evening lows. And condition-wise, most spots in this list here is just expecting some cloudier skies, not really looking at any too high chances of some flurries. And now taking another look at some more spots here. These are all seeing minus marks for their evening low, but most are just going to be expecting that low of -1. Unity and Calgary will be expecting slightly cooler with that low of -2, -3, but, you know, still seeing those single-digit marks, and we are seeing some not too bad of temperatures. Partly cloudy for most spots across the region and surrounding areas, as well as we are looking at here. So as long as we aren't seeing too much snow just yet, I think we all are pretty happy, especially heading into the Halloween weekend. And now ending off with our 7-day forecast for here in the border city. We are going to be seeing 8 tomorrow for our Saturday. A lot more sun, so not too bad for all the plans out there. If anyone's going partying or going out, you know, downtown, having fun with friends and family, make sure you're being safe. Not seeing too bad of a temperature though. Ending off that with Sunday at 11, but seeing a high chance of that precipitation, so just be prepared for Sunday. Then Monday for Halloween, we are looking at 7, so definitely warmer than what we expected, what we were seeing before, so not too bad of a temperature for everyone that's going out trick-or-treating, but just be prepared. We will be cooling down after that into next week with Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. As you can see, we will be seeing a high chance of those flurries making their way back. That's all I have for now. I'm Jace Mackey. We'll have more news coming up after the break. Joining us today for this week's entertainment panel is the classic Abby St. John, and we got a Marvel panel.
Yes, we haven't had one of those in a while.
I know, right? And I think the people aren't too shocked. We love us some Marvel, but thank you so much for joining us in studio today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so we got a lot of, announcements from Marvel. A lot going on right now. And starting off, I think a big one that many people are talking about, the trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I think everyone's really excited, of course, for some Paul Rudd, coming back into it. Everyone gets to watch him and the comedic relief he's got and all the good stuff in it. And there's going to be, a lot of good stuff that's happening in this trailer from what we're seeing so far. We got Hope that's going to be in there for his partner, of course. Got the parents, Hank and Janet. And then it's going to be in theaters coming up February 17th. So not till next year, but, at least we get introduced to Kang the Conqueror.
Yes, and we saw a little bit of him in Loki at the end, and Jonathan Majors, I think, is fantastic.
Yeah, so good.
He really killed the role in Loki, so I'm excited to see him in a full movie and to see a little bit more about his personality and his character, because I loved him in Loki, so I think I'm going to love him even more in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, we also get to see Cassie, his daughter, in a suit. We saw her in the first couple movies, and she wanted to get in on the action, but obviously she was a little bit too young. Now she's actually able to, help out with creating new technology for them, and she does by creating a signal to the quantum realm, kind of like a deep space signal, but for the quantum realm. Obviously, Janet, she's been to the quantum realm. She spent a long time down there, so she's probably their biggest expert, and she says, shut it down. Before they can, of course, they all get sucked into the quantum realm, and, they discover that there's a whole world beneath their universe, and, Marvel loves throwing out different universes in this, especially with the multiverse that we're being introduced. So this is just another universe. And so it almost seems like there's an army being created. Bill Murray is in it. Don't know his role as of yet, but he does make an appearance in the trailer. And then Kang finds them and offers them a way back home, but at a price for their help. We're not sure what they're helping him with. He's probably got some tricks up his sleeve, but he is offering them a way out. So this could be them working with Kang, or, Kang could be the villain of all this. It's unclear, which I like. They gave us a little taste, and, I think that was enough. I'm very excited. We'll see what happens, but we have to wait till February, which is a little bit unfortunate, but
I know.
It's going to come faster.
Time flies, we realize
exactly.
that. Yeah,
so.
and I agree when it came to the trailer comment that you were saying. Because, a lot of movies like No Way Home, Wakanda Forever, they had that teaser one where it's like, some stuff is said in it and all that, and it's a lot more intense, and it gives you like, what's going to happen next. They probably will release another trailer, but this one was just perfect. Like, it was kind of like in the middle of that teaser and giving, some of the lines you hear from who's saying what and what it's about. So hopefully, this is the only trailer, that it doesn't reveal too much and ruin some stuff before it comes out in February. But yeah. But we got something else that's coming up before that, a holiday special, Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. And that came out with a little trailer to show what it's all about, and that's going to be coming out November 25th, so yeah.
Yeah, so they discover that it's Christmas, or it's close to Christmas time on Earth, and, Peter is obviously super bummed about not being able to find Gamora. So they decide that they're going to cheer him up, and they bring Christmas to the planet that they're on. And so happens that the perfect gift for him is a person. Anybody who's watched Guardians of the Galaxy know how much Peter loves Kevin Bacon. He was on Earth during the 80s, so he has Footloose. He thinks Footloose is the greatest movie of all time. Kevin Bacon is like an idol to him, so Drax and Mantis go to Earth and break into Kevin Bacon's house, which I find hilarious, and I'm actually super happy.
He looks so scared. It's so funny.
The fact that Kevin Bacon is in this movie or this little special is incredible, and I hope he's in a lot of it and he actually meets Peter and goes with them. So I'm excited for it. I think this is the perfect small little thing to, one, get into the holiday spirit, in November, and also give us a little bit more Guardians before the third movie comes out. And hopefully in the third movie, you know, we see some revelation with Gamora and Quill, because it is going to be the final Guardians movie, and just to give us a little bit more extra Marvel.
Oh, yeah. And like, it's good to see that, you know, they're coming up with ideas to give some more Marvel every now and then, even waiting until, you know, official movies come out. And yeah, like you said, it's going to be nice to have that little taste of Guardians before that third one, Volume 3, comes out, and it's going to be so long. But, you know, we got a little bit more that has coming up this week. Just want to give a little shout out. I think we're all excited. This was kind of announced, I'm pretty sure it was announced yesterday or a couple days before, but, you know, with Rihanna, kind of giving a little taste of some more music.
Yes.
Yeah, coming out today. So excited. And for sure, with her music, it's going to be for Wakanda Forever for Black Panther. So that's going to be great. I think a lot of people are speaking about that. They're pumped.
Yes. I think it's perfect, her coming back into music with Wakanda Forever.
Yep, and it's gearing up for November 11th when it's going to be coming out, so I think Marvel is really killing it right now. Let's just say
definitely.
that. Yeah, it was really good speaking with you again, Abby. Thank you so much for joining us today, and yeah, it's really great to see what Marvel's got going on. I'm glad we could do a Marvel panel.
Of course, me too.
This weekend, you have the chance to check out a really cool Halloween house light show and support the Salvation Army Food Bank. There are a number of great decorated homes in our city, but this particular one, you can drive by, enjoy it from the warmth of your car, and they'll be accepting donations to the Salvation Army Food Bank. There's going to be a donation bin out front where you can drop off that non-perishable food item if you're able to. It runs tonight until 10 o'clock, and then tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday between 5 and 10. And you are invited back on Monday to do some trick-or-treating. And thanks to Bexing Constructions, there will be some treats available while supplies last. But make sure you check it out. A great way to get into the Halloween spirit. And you're going to find this house at 3106 55th Avenue in Lloydminster. Coming up tomorrow night, there's going to be a spooky swim at the BioClean Aquatic Center. And this Halloween swim, it's geared for preteens and teens. So if there's somebody in your household between the ages of 12 and 18, get them registered. It's going to be a really fun night at the BioClean Aquatic Center. Obstacle courses, a DJ with some music, spooky lights, and more. You'll find all the details, and you can get registered on the city's website, lloydminster.ca/register. And there's a couple fall suppers in our area this weekend. Coming up tomorrow, Grace United Church will be hosting their fall supper. And coming up on Sunday, the Maidstone United Church will be serving up their fall supper. You can head out between 5 and 7. Adults of $15, kids 6 and under, they eat for free. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, we hope you stay safe and stay healthy.
What's Happening is brought to you by Northern Factory Workwear, Circle Drive East, Saskatoon, and Highway 17 South, Lloydminster.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
I'm proud to introduce author Jane Baird Warren to the program. Thank you so much today for joining us here on Primetime Local News to talk about your book, How to Be a Goldfish.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm delighted.
So, what inspired you to write this book?
Okay, so it started as I wanted to write for children. By children, this is a middle grade book. But I was thinking of having a fun Parent Trap inspired book. I don't know if you remember the movie. And having two kids from very different walks of life who have no idea they're related, having them meet up, have an adventure, and Bob's your uncle. But then, I guess in all fairness, things started to get ugly in the world. They were happening south of the border, people were getting mean, and that kind of just seeped into my psyche. And then one day, and I was still writing away, but nothing was really congealing properly. And then one day I read a tweet from Barack Obama, who paraphrased Nelson Mandela. And he said, essentially, people aren't born hating. Somebody has to be taught to hate. And if they can be taught to hate, they can be taught to love. And I thought, that's fantastic. And wouldn't it be great if I had two kids who had never been taught to hate and they could behave in such a way that that information would change the adults and the people around them? And so once I had that touchstone, I was a lot faster writing the book. So that's where that came from, I guess, south of the border.
Why is your book called How to Be a Goldfish?
When I was a kid, or a teenager, we had a cottage near Georgian Bay, and it had a pond, and my dad got some little store-bought goldfish, and he tossed them in, and those little things just grew, and I remember being amazed. And in the book, this David is my city character, the almost 12-year-old, and he arrives in this farm, in this rural setting where he's totally a fish out of water, and he's thrown in and needing to cope with some pretty big challenges. And Lizzie, the 13-year-old, says, you know what? You're a goldfish. He thinks it's an insult at first because he has red hair and goldfish are conceivably orange. But she doesn't mean it that way. She means it the same way my dad did, that look at you, you're coming here just like this, but we've thrown you into this rural situation and you grew, you can cope. So yeah, I'm not a comfortable city girl. I like visiting cities, but I'm a girl who's happier out in the country. As you can't see now, but I'm living out sort of woods on one side, lakes on the other.
What do you want people to know going into your book?
So I think I'd love kids to just pick it up and read it for fun. It's a dual narrative. So there's a 13-year-old girl character and an almost 12-year-old boy character, and they come at life from very different worlds. And I'd like it to still have that mysterious adventure. But I also would like it very much if an adult could pick it up and read it and go, oh yeah, I get that. I see where they're coming from. And so far it hasn't been out long enough that I have child responses, but I'm getting tons of adult responses, and that part feels really good.
So what made you decide to write a book for a younger audience?
I suppose it's a really involved story. When I started to do a master's in creative writing, I went to University of British Columbia because they have this optional residency program, and I was living in Europe at the time, so I could just fly in for the summer programs. I had no intention of writing for children, ever. I was going to write the great literary novel, and I signed up to do just that. But part of UBC's mandate is to expose writers to different genres, so I signed up for translation, and I signed up for children's writing. And when I took Kidlit with Glenn Hooser, who's won a Governor General's Award, he's a lovely man, he showed us all these amazing books that I never knew existed. I didn't read Kidlit as a kid. I went straight into adult books. And I thought, okay, you can write brilliant, deep, meaningful plots that kids will chew up and adore, but adults can read too. So I thought there's such a rich opportunity here to write something that way. And also, as an extra bonus, the Kidlit community is universal. So I'm living in Europe, and I can join organizations like SCBWI, Scooby, and I have chapters of people that I can meet with. I mean, my writing group when I lived in Europe was in Sweden, in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, Wales, all over the world. So they're cuddly and they're kind. And back in Canada, we have Canscape, and they're even sweeter. They're delightful. So it's kind of hard to walk away from that kind of kindness and niceness when you've been exposed to it.
Now, you have said that most of the readers so far have been adults. What has the response been like from them who have read your book?
I think they're surprised that I wrote it. I think that might be the first one. I'm an introvert, but I'm one of those gregarious introverts that can be loud. And I think that they may be a little bit of surprise that there's that tenderness there. But I think overall, we're all suffering the same aches in society of people fighting and disagreeing, and neighbors fighting neighbors. And they like the unity that the book brings, and the fact that thematically, it's overall about being an ally and being a friend. So that's the bottom line. And again, the surprise that it all came from me, I suppose.
I'd like to thank you again so much for joining us here today.
Thanks, Sarah. It was great meeting you.
And now, before we go tonight, it's time to see who's taking home a Pet Pad gift card. Who's our winner going to be this week? We've seen a lot of cute pets, and congratulations, Emmett. This was one I was thinking may win. It just looks too perfect. Could be on a calendar. Congratulations. Christy will be in contact with you on Monday to let you know how you can pick up your Pet Pad gift card. And that does it for another week of Primetime Local News on this Friday. Thank you all so much for joining us, and have a great weekend.